Alright, so it is Friday and I'm just finished cleaning the house, kind of getting everything organized and getting things squirreled away. But I got a few things already knocked off the list now. I cleaned up the garlic, the onions. Interestingly enough, I did pull this piece of corn the other day. So this is just one example of. Just look at that. It's a little small, I know, but beautiful looking kernels on there. And this is just, I found this one because it was knocked over, so I figured I'd pick it. But it's drying out, and that's going to be just one of the seemingly many pieces of corn I have. It's a funny story because it's when I grew that corn, it was really small, and I honestly I'd given up on that. I didn't think it would make anything, but after I seeded everything, I prayed over everything that I put in the ground, and I left it in God's hands. And even though I gave up on it, He proved me wrong in the end. And there's actually a good amount of stuff coming out of that. So it goes to show that you just have to have a little bit of faith. But it's one of those funny things that despite the outcome and the look of it, it's how small it might have been, it's still produced, and you can't take that for granted, or you can't dismiss something based off of your perception. Either way, I'm just trying to figure out where to kind of go from here. I have to entertain a realtor at some point today. One, as what I was told, does an appraisal of the place because I'm looking to buy it. So, and just through that process, because I'm renting it now. Either way, that's what's happening. I broke my stove today. Not on purpose, but I might have to go and look into upgrading at some point. Fixing is more like it. So this coil doesn't work. I've had that's been on for a while now. The two small ones work. And I was cleaning the stove this morning. I pulled this out, cleaned it, put it back in like normal, and then I always test to see if it still works. And then that light's always on. And then when I turned it on, there was a good spark, and it would stay on even though I turned it off. So I pulled it out because the moment I plug it in, it's going to start heating up. So that was fun taking it out. I have to get rid of that one because he keeps making a nest there. And I got a few ideas in mind. I gotta probably look into the garden a bit more because I'm getting close to harvest. I could be taking some of the potatoes out. I got more dried beans coming in. I cataloged my beans today. I have to start making jars with labels on them. I got I think 5 different varieties in there. So I got the names of them again. I figured that out, and then I probably could start picking corn. A lot of it's ready to be picked, and like that one, and can start drying and just kind of cleaning up the place and seeing what can go from there. But I'm always kind of in between. I should get the ABS glued up. I can do that, and then if I need to, I can start spreading manure tomorrow. If I even get around to it, but at least it's the options there. But I'll kind of see where the day goes. Alright, so decided to finish those beehive panels. I forgot about those, but so there's the first one, and you can see I got the slot for the entrance there. So there's 9 more to go, and then at least all the hive parts should be done, the body, and then I still need to make pieces for the lid. Or do I? Not really. I was thinking the other day I could still cut all the end pieces, because there's a certain width that I could just cut the squares, and then you custom cut whatever you want in the square. But I already took the other piece away, so I could cut them with the table saw. I guess it's not a bad idea because it should be a square piece because I'm not going bigger than 45. But then I'll get these scrolled away, and I might actually end up cutting those for the roofs, at least that's just some more cutting that I wouldn't have to do inside the shed during winter. So, and then yeah, the less of that the better, I say. Alright, so I brought them over. There's 10 front pieces, inner front pieces, all the slots are cut, and it's ready to go. So there is another piece down. So all the main components are done, and then yeah, this shelf is for all the there's like these small parts. These are more like the insulation spacers. That's where all those will go. That I'll do on a table saw. They're all 2-inch strips, and I prefer to make them out of, well, most of them I can make out of the plywood because they're just spacers and you don't see them. But the ones that you do see, I prefer to make them out of a like 2x6 or a 1x. I prefer to have the whole lumbers because you actually see that part of it, and then so I'll see how that goes. Probably make some bread right now, and then probably getting close to time where that fellow shows up, so yeah, we'll kind of see where the day goes from there. Alright, so I went through and I picked some of the corn that was hanging low, and I just want to highlight just how nice some of this stuff looks. That's funny. I know I remember this corn, this red one. The ones I did have, I had very little of it, and the ones I had last year were very small ears. But I remember just looking at them and say, "Oh, that's pretty." And well, it looks like those genetics kicked on over. And oh, some of these are just yeah, smaller kernels on this one. Or towards the end, it's a smaller head, but I mean, you get some nice. I mean, ain't that just pretty? Oh my! I say what, that is absolutely beautiful corn. So I got that, and then I got some yeah, dried beans. So I'm just slowly picking them out once, about once a week, and then so as it goes, if these there's a few varieties in there. You saw this black one in there. I'm actually not sure what these black ones are, because the site I bought the seeds from, I can't find these ones anymore. So it's a mystery to me. Either way, I'm gonna look into so I picked these, and then I'll go set them out to dry, and then I probably should go through more of the corn, to be honest. It feels too early for corn, but this stuff is dry, so it's kind of it's just kind of what it is. Potatoes some of those could come off the ground. I could do those batches and start at least drying them, use whatever porch space I have, and then I'll go look into my shed and see what I can do for the. I could start making more beehive parts. You just keep scrolling away at that. It's not done, so that needs to be done. And then yeah, let's see what goes from there. Alright, little update on where I am so far. Not sure where I left off, to be honest. But I'm cutting a bunch of 2-inch strips, and these are all the spacers for the insulation. These 2-inch insulation. Like I said, the top of what you see when you open the hive, that's, I don't know what you call it, whole lumber, and then all the other spacers I just make out of plywood. So I used all the cutoffs I had here still from some of the other builds, and then I ended up using some of those, and so I got, right now I'm making the whole pieces. These just need to be cut down to length now. And so what I've been doing is I take these, all of this stuff is scrap lumber that I take, that I get from work. So they come in the form of, mostly pallets, is where I get a lot of this stuff from, where they ship, different materials in. I take those things apart, and yeah, you can tell. So this is a pallet board, that's where the staples were in. There's usually a good side and the bad side. But you can see this side it's a rounded board, so but you know that doesn't look nice when you sandwich in between two pieces of plywood there. So I'm just taking the jointer and making one nice edge. So I got that on all of these, and then all of these. So I made already 5, and this is the other 5 now. I miscalculated by half there. So yeah, I'm fishing these out. So now I'm going to run them through the table saw, and that's already set up to 2 inches. That's already done all of these pieces. So I'll get the last of them finished, and then that should be. And then those will need to be cut on here to the correct dimensions, and then the rest of them as well. But I think that will be it for at least the 2-inch cuts. And then once I cut those to the right dimensions, then it's just a few dados on 4, I guess 2 of the parts, the duplicates, and then yeah, those should be squirreled away, and that'll bring me to that'll finish off another 8, 9 parts there. So that'll conclude at least the hive bodies, and then I can probably cut some pieces. I have them already. I brought out some plywood to cut. I'll set up the table saw for that. You know, these are for the gables, but since I don't know what I do for the gables, but I do know one thing: the width of them and the maximum height, because I'm not going higher than, I would say, 45. So I'll cut all my pieces square so that they would theoretically make a those are for the center supports. I forgot my end pieces are 3/8. That's 3/4. Oh, I need to make them anyway. So there's that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep chipping away at this. Get those cut down, squared up, and just rather, I guess, plugging away my day for now. It's I don't know. It's kind of a. I should get the PVC glued up now to think of it. At least it can dry during this time. Yeah, I'll take a break from this and then do that quickly. Alright, so I glued up the PVC to what I could. I didn't realize I didn't have I'm missing 2 joints. I didn't realize that at the time, but the caps for the end of my spreader here. So right here, these bars, they need to come still on here, but yeah, I didn't realize that I needed a coupler to put them on. So I'll have to pick one of those up. Now I could just put an end cap on there. I just like the idea of being able to open up the end still and being able to flush the whole system out. So that's, well, originally because these were actually cheaper than end caps, but I guess those plus couplers will probably get to the same price, and then who knows. But so there's a 2-piece system. There's this, that's the actual bar that, so you know, the tote is going to sit on the wheel, on the wagon, you know, back there. It's going to sit in the middle there, and then from the valve, which I have here, you know, this just screws onto here, and then I have these 2 fine threads, so that's just going to sit on the tote. And then on this end, when I go to fill it up, I can unscrew it and take this whole bar off, go fill up the tote, screw it back on, you know, where I'm at home, because I don't want to be traveling with this on the back, is my guess. Or if I don't want to be storing it the whole, I don't know, I feel like it feels like a lot of extra maneuvering to do. if you have to do that, because this whole assembly is over 10 foot. It's just what the bar was left, and I figured it was a pretty decent spread. So what I still have to do is, so it's all glued up. Yeah, I just need to get the end caps on, and then on the underside of this bar, I'll have to drill a couple holes where the actual manure can get out, or the water, the liquid, and then it should be good. And then theoretically, I can just take that tote, put it on that wagon, put this to the back. Well, I guess go fill up the tote, bring it back here, attach that, open the spigot, and drive down my lawn and fertilize everything. That's the idea. So everything is glued up. Then yeah, I have to go uptown tomorrow anyways, because I am out of lumber. So I'll have to go and pick up some 1x6. I figure if I go there anyways, then I will pick up those couplers, and then I can glue those right away up, finish that, and then get that screw all the way. All these pieces, I think they're ready. I'm gonna chip away at this a little bit, start doing a little more cutting. I think all my 2-inch pieces are done. I just don't want to take this down before I know that for sure. It's the gasket for this here. This is why I need to make like a toolbox so I can put that toolbox was I'm going to put it on the wagon. That's the idea. That's why I got it. So then I can have stuff like that out there. But yeah, that'll cure up, and then the only other thing is I might put like an eye hook in there. Maybe more like a bolted one. Just drill a hole in there and bolt an eye hook in there. And that way I can string a cord. And then place it maybe on here or something. Just some sort of hook so that there's a string that goes to the end. I don't know how much flippity flop is going to be on there. So I don't want it to be bending too much. I like to keep it straight, and I think that's the easiest way to do it. Or even if you really want to, you probably could drag just a string from one side, go through there, and go there again. Have a predetermined length, just hook them in at the end. Something like that. That would work too. So far, I'm just storing lumber on there. All the plywood cut-offs, and then I can haul it away and just burn it and be done with it. But yeah, that's the progress so far. And I guess I'll go. Yeah, I don't know why they have them like this. Like that T, it actually it's gonna favor this side, I guess, but it's not like it's prevented there. It's just, I don't know, it's like sloped like that. So, and I couldn't find no T that was just straight. So I guess that's the difference between PVC and ABS. I don't know. They probably make it. I just didn't see it. They just didn't have them where I was looking. So, or maybe I just couldn't find it. Yeah. Then we'll get a little more cutting done. And I don't know what it is about this. You can see this wood here. You see how high that is? The difference there. And that's, look at that, it's stacked, normal. Like the wood is it varies in thickness. I don't know what it is. It doesn't affect the build because I'm just going to line it flush with the top and you don't even see the bottom. So it really doesn't get in the way of anything, but just odd. But either way, ramble long enough, I'll go start making some cuts and get a few more pieces scrolled away. One of these boards I cut down, I don't know what the termites were doing, but it looks like they were counting something. Well, things are progressing quite nicely. Got a good stack of pieces going off. The tops, the inner pieces. Those were something. Oh yeah, the back supports, and then it's a nice piece actually. It's plywood, but it looks like a whole piece of whole lumber. And then the entrance spacers along with their little, I guess that is the spacer for the spacers. Anyway, setting these up, and this is one of the, there's some things I made in here that I just have saved me so much time, and this is one of them. This little extension for this saw. You know, hindsight being 20/20, really, the saw should be lowered into the table and the table raised, built around the saw, but, I didn't think that far ahead. And so I just put a shelf out and then kind of strut this across, and it works. And then I just kind of get my first piece in there, measure it up, tighten the clamp down, there's my stop block, and then I just make repeat cuts, and it works really good. And so I need to make two more pieces. Well, two more, I guess, items of 10 apiece. So I got some scraps here for that, but I'll probably have to use some of that because I'm realizing that my measurements came off somewheres, and I'm not sure where they went wrong, but I need more than what I had accounted for. But that's all good. I got scraps here for it, and it'll make up for it. So I'll get that. And then once that is done, then all the pieces will have been cut for the hive bodies. Every single piece. Yeah. And the only thing left then would be to machine these two pieces, because they interlock with each other, kind of like a hashtag. Now, I'm thinking this concept for that interlocking pieces, that I got when I found these plans from Horizontal Hive. That's how Leo Sharashkin does it. It is a nice design. I do like it, but it is time consuming, and it's an extra step to machine those pieces in there. I have thought about eliminating that and doing it more of a simple, instead of the two pieces interlocking, that they just butt up against each other, shove a staple in there, because all it does is keep the it just spaces the insulation out. It is nice, but I'll probably do it with this batch, and then maybe in the future I'll come up with something different, just to save on a machining step and to just ease production. But it's what I've done so far. It works, and it works nicely. But yeah, I'll get those pieces done. Alright, so I think I'm going to be gearing down now. I got everything cut. So the next big thing is to get the dados into the cross sections for the bottom. Just thinking about how I can speed this up. I should put a list on my list of measurements. I should say how many of each piece I need, instead of just relying on I know how many I need, but it's just a quicker, I don't have to think twice about it. And then I should also put on there where I can get those pieces from, because most things are standard length of 48 inches, and then some things you can get 2 out of, and other things the cutoff from one can be used for the other, and just say, okay, how many 48-inch strips of 2-inch do you need to begin with? Put that number down, and then we can go from there. So yeah, everything here is cut. Actually, I recut these because, I noticed that this stack here, do you see the difference there? That's because this is 3/4 plywood, and this is 31/32 plywood. So yeah, it's a very small difference. And for spacers, it really doesn't matter because I'm not using it on the height. But when it does these, I actually want. It really wouldn't have mattered a 32nd off, but it's just, I wanted a 3/4 entrance. I'm gonna get a 3/4 entrance. I didn't ask for 31/32 entrance. So yeah, those pieces just recut. Quick thing, and it's all from the strap. So that's there, and then I'm just gonna I'll store this in the shed for today. Those will be the center beams. So on the hives, there's the two end pieces, and then there's a piece that straddles the middle for extra support. I make that out of the 3/4. So I'll be making those pieces from that. I'll make kind of like blanks, and then whatever angle, whatever design, whatever shape the roof gets, I'll cut them from that blank. So it'll be a standard square. There's a maximum height. I'm not going over 45. So I'll cut them all as if they were being made to 45. But then we'll see when it comes time to actually cutting them. That's one of the few things I'll custom cut, I think, over the winter. If I really can come up with any other ideas. But when it comes to, sometimes I think about what kind of lids I can do, because I got a few different ones. I got the barn roof. I'm not a big fan of that. It's just a little too top heavy. I got the round over, or the half vesica, the 45, the 35, and the flat. So it's not gonna lie, I quite like the flat look to it, and it's actually the easiest one to make. So it's not bad. I might play around with the angles too. I like the 35s. They look pretty good. The 45s, it just has a very European look to it. But I think the 35s, if they're done nicely, I think they'll look pretty sharp too. But we'll see how that goes this year. Again, everything has its pros and cons, and yeah, we'll just see where it goes. Well, it's getting late. I know I said I'd end it, but I see a lot of things. This I just had I guess late supper. Nice little setup actually. That's I had it over there, so Friday night pizza, so can't complain about that. It's good. That's just all the cut-offs. That's just me cleaning up and then having a good time while I'm doing it. Right now I'm thinking about how to get those notches into the plywood. We're about 8:45. But I enjoy doing it. So what I have, so on the saw, what I'm thinking about doing is, so I need to make a slot that's 3/4 by 1 inch. I would go a little proud of 1 inch, but I'm thinking about doing this all on the saw here. Let's see. Here's the idea. I bring them all. I make one stop block here, and I could, that should be enough, and I could just measure off the other side. I could theoretically put another stop block here, but what I can do is put 5 of these things down at a time, and then they'll be butt up against, and then I make my, set the depth of the saw to where it needs to be. Now I have to figure out how far back, because I can't go right next to the fence, so I'll have to probably go from the middle of there and then forwards, but I got, that's the error in this. We'll see how far that 1 inch travels back. But I need to lock my saw. It's a trouble I've had before. I don't have the original bolt that came in there is not this one. But the original bolt is fully threaded. And this was my replacement because it's the best I could find, but it's not fully threaded. So I got a tap and die set, so I think I'll try and get some. I'll try to extend the threads on here so that I can use it more proper, and just probably chuck it in a vise and then see if we can get some more thread out of it. Well, it's getting later, and but I do have a little jig set up. So I didn't thread that screw. That screw is I should have seen it, but I'm pretty sure it's stainless. It was already a tough time turning on the thread, so yeah, I didn't do that. I found my old screw. I thought maybe I could try threading that, because it's bent, so that's why I had to get a new one. But I just did it differently, so I took that stop off, put it on the bottom instead of the top, so it gave me that extra space. But I am now set up here, so I have my backstop. and I have my front stop, and so that produces these, and these are I'm quite liking it. It's just a little bit over an inch, so that the next one will interlock, 3/4 wide. You can see the fits in there, pretty nice. And I could tighten up just a wee bit, but yeah, shooting for perfection on this stuff is always difficult. But I don't know, I go for it. So I got those two notches out. You know, I got the spacing that needs to be, so I can just butt up one side, other side, and you know, I can show you that too. I tried something different. Maybe this actually works. I don't know where the camera's positioned here. I got it. I don't know if you can see in the window, but you see I hook it onto my shirt, so gotta improvise sometimes. Okay, so I got this end. It's gonna butt up on that side. Sometimes these boards are just oh boy, that's crooked. Okay, that also doesn't help. Okay, so this board goes in there. A little bit of blowback over there. Why am I doing this is because when I did it with dados, that really chipped. Like that, there was a whole heck of a lot more coming back. So see that. Oh, that is nice. Look, I don't know what picks up, but that is nice. Oh, that is solid. I could have a little less on the depth. You can see how much extra play there is. But I'd sooner have it a little more than a little less. I don't really care about that because it just sits on the bottom. There's really no need for this to be so precise. But you can see why I want to eliminate this step. I don't think it's necessary, but yeah, there's that. Alright, so it's almost 9:45. But the things are notched. All my pieces are notched, and that turned out really nice. This is the best they've turned out so far, so I mean, they just fit nice. I mean, it's actually, yeah, there we go. Man, it's just, that is almost a darn shame that nobody's going to see that. It's going to get sandwiched in between two pieces of plywood, and no one will ever know just how nice that joint is. But either way, I'll know. So, looks like the rest of the stories around here. So with that squared away, then I will be... That's actually it for all of these pieces. The hive body is now complete. It is. I'm 99% certain. Sometimes I always think of what's... I think it works. So that setup, I really like it. I'll probably be doing that. I have to come up with better ways to do this, but again, this is kind of how I'm starting everything. You got to start somewhere. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can build all these things with the space that I got and the equipment that I got. So I've seen some guys use routers, but I have tried that. I don't like it. I've used dado blades. It works, but man, the tear out is horrendous on the ones I have, at least. This is by far the nicest, quickest, and I was doing them 2 at a time on here. Is what I set it up for, so you can just you slop them in 2, and then you just it goes pretty quick. So it was nice. So outside of this, I'm almost finished down the list. Probably not tonight, but I will be on the morrow, probably cutting the center supports for the roofs and also the ends of the roofs, and then perhaps I want to say the roof pieces themselves, the slopes, but there gets a point where there's too many variables coming in, especially if I don't have a solid plan on what to do for the roof pitch yet. So either way, yeah, I'm gonna probably leave it here. Enjoy the fire for a little bit more, and then hit the hay, I guess. I should see if the light. I got a halogen light that I got from an auction a while back. Sometimes it's nice to get just a little bit of extra light in here. Don't get me wrong, I thought about, you can easily upgrade, put some LEDs in here, but I actually really like this light because it's not so bright. It's kind of like yellow light. I don't know. It's not overly bright, and it seems more fitting with the night. It's not, bright daylight. I don't know. It's like, it's just a reminder that, hey, you're not in day anymore. You're past your hour, and this is just extending it. I don't know. There's something nice about it. Something that just fits. I don't know what it is. We have rambled on long enough. If you watched this far, thanks for watching, and take care.